Hello everyone, bringing you a video today looking at something a little bit different. What we're going to be looking at today is an Airmed Airlite 62 headset, which are a very iconic, well, iconic's perhaps not the right word, very ubiquitous bit of military kit. It's a headset, obviously, used by the Royal Navy and to a degree used by the Royal Air Force as well, from the 1960s right the way through to pretty much the modern day. I'm not sure if they're still in use, but they certainly were in use in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, and probably still are because they're a very durable, rugged design. We have one here, and we're going to have a look at this in a bit more detail and talk about it, talk about the design. So without further ado, we'll get into the main part of the video now and talk about this in a bit more detail. The first thing we'll look at here is the box that this came in, just to show you how this was marked. With receiver headset is what it is referred to. This NATO stock number, which obviously should have a 99 here for the national code for the UK, doesn't actually register anymore when I've searched for it. We'll see in a minute there's another NATO stock number actually on the headband of the headset itself, and that appears to be the new NATO stock number created in 91, if I remember from when I searched. That seems to be the new NATO stock number for this particular type of headset, or the newer one. So that's the details on the outside of the box. We'll have a look at the contents now. Okay, so in here we have the headset itself, which I shall get out and put to one side for a minute. It did come in a plastic bag. A little servicing card here, which obviously shows when it's been tested. We have a date of 1975 there. Radio test section, Devonport. That's been signed off as tested. Some other details on the back there. Put that to one side. We have the little pamphlet, which gives the details of the headset itself. So I shall hold this up here and you can pause should you wish to have a look at that and read. And the other side. And then we have some spare protectors for the earphones, the plastic bag that it came in. It was cut open when I got it. So that's the contents of the box. I'll just put that to one side. We'll bring the headset back in. So, quite a robust design, as you'd expect for a piece of military communications equipment. And you have obviously the headphones and then the boom microphone on the side here. Now there's quite a lot of adjustment in this. The earpieces slide up and down on the headband. The microphone slides in and out. If I can, it's a little stiff, but you can see that moves in and out on its pivot point here, and then that pivots. So there's quite a lot of adjustment there. See the design of the microphone there, big chunky thing. The pad for the headband and the ear pieces themselves are made of a blue vinyl material, as you can see there, but they do come with these little cloth covers, obviously that can be removed and washed. And there's a spare set of those in the bag here, so it did come with a spare set of those as well. You sometimes see them worn without these, but obviously they do give a bit of extra comfort rather than just having the vinyl pressed into the side of your face. Obviously this can cause you to sweat if you've got that in direct contact with the skin, so these do make them a little bit more comfortable. And you have obviously an elasticated section around there which fits over the vinyl pad on the side there. So a simple and robust design. You have the details on the side of the earpieces here. You can see, I'll just adjust that in, there we go. So you've got the patent numbers and the reference numbers on the side there. Airmed Limited, Harlow, England. And you have England on the grey plastic inside there as well. And similarly you do have England cast in on this side as well. Underneath you can just see there. The top of the headband here, obviously you've got the wires connecting the two earpieces. We unbutton this, it's just a piece of card in here. This is the NATO stock number I mentioned before, which you can search, and it still brings up receiver headset. And I believe, let's say, this NATO stock number was created in 1991. And the pad can just be removed from the top of the headset there, so it just buttons into place using these two little press studs. So I'll pop that back on here. Obviously in this instance this has the NATO stock number written in here. I think really the intention of this is that if it was issued to an individual person, their name could be put in there, so there'd be no confusion over who was using which headset. In terms of control here, we have an old, very old chunky Bakelite junction box. You can see the marking there. I get the light on it, and the on-off at the top there. So it's a hold-on switch. It has a spring load in it, which means it automatically reverts to off when the switch is released. And then we have a multi-contact connector down the bottom here. This would vary very much on what application these were being used in. And as already said, they were used by the Royal Navy, and they were used by the Royal Air Force in some instances as well. You can see some footage here of Royal Navy personnel using the headset in the ops room. This footage is taken from Frigate, a 1973 Royal Navy promotional film, which is freely available to watch on YouTube, and I'll put a card to that in the corner of the video here. You can see another photograph here of the headset in Royal Navy use, this time by a crew member of a Bofors 40mm anti-aircraft gun. And finally, we have a late 1960s photograph of RAF air crew of a VC-10, and you can see that they're carrying these headsets, although they are fitted with the RAF's standard single pin connector of the time period. So as I say, the hardware actually used to wire this into whatever communication system was being used would vary depending on who was using it, what application it was being used in. This is just happens to be the connector that I have on this one that I've purchased. So there we are, that's the Airlite 62 headset. As I say, something a little bit different to look at, but a very long-lived bit of kit, and one I thought it would be worth chatting about. The idea is when the opportunity presents itself to put on displays, perhaps about the Royal Navy in general or about the Falklands conflict, having this on a mannequin head to be displayed separately adds a little bit to the display. But yes, the Airlite 62 headset. So there we are, something a little bit different, but I hope you found that interesting nonetheless. As I say, a very ubiquitous bit of kit, of communications equipment, obviously used primarily by the Royal Navy, but there's photographs showing its use by the Royal Air Force. I'm not sure how extensive Royal Air Force use was, but certainly a very ubiquitous bit of Royal Navy kit, used obviously in the 60s, used through the Falklands campaign, and then used right through until very recently, possibly still in use. I'd be interested if anyone's currently serving in the RN, if they could advise on that. But they were certainly a very long-lived bit of kit, and with good reason. As I said before, it's a very rugged design. I hope you found it interesting looking at that. If you have and you'd like to see more from the channel, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, little notification button down below. And that will of course alert you when I upload future videos. If you really like my uploads and you would like to support the channel, you can. Both Patreon and PayPal are linked down below. And as ever, a massive thank you to everybody who supports the channel using those two methods. It's greatly appreciated, as I always say. If you'd like to follow the channel on social media, you can. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all linked down below. And if you'd like to get in touch but you don't really use social media, there is of course an email address down there as well. But that's everything for this video. So until next time, bye for now.